I'm so excited. I'm going to get cream.
Let Noxzema clean your face. So the face won't.
The closer you shave, the more you need creamy, soothing, medicated Noxzema.
Let Noxzema.
Nice bottle, Joe. All right, come in.
The 68 Jets. We had all the moves. And there wasn't an imaginary team in the league that could beat us.
Okay. Slate in the fourth falls on the sixth. It opens up by 3. Okay.
That would be Don Maynard. In Paul's case, the only wide receiver in pro football who was allergic to grass.
I want you to slant left, button hook, and cut the post. Okay? Who am I? You're Emerson Boozer. You provide vital pass protection. Blocking again? Well, why do I always gotta block? Because you're good at it. Ready, break! And the crowd's going wild. Okay. 89, 235. Hut, 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 hut. Joe Billy Navy. Fades back to pass. He's looking for a receiver. Another break for the end zone. What a block by Boozer. He's all alone. Scrambling. Scrambling. He's wide open. Touchdown! And the Jets are winning 26-23. Remember, it's 4:30. Better get a move on.
And so the AFL championship game of 1968 came to a grinding halt. In front of 60,000 screaming fans, the league's leading passer had to go to his weekly piano lesson.
Reach out, oh, with Ray and Steve. Reach out, with Ray and Steve. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the car. For the home team, if they don't win, it's a shame. Play ball.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good evening to you wherever you may be. Welcome to Reach Out with Ray and Steve. And of course, you know by now that this is the show where East meets West, where the Yankees meet the Dodgers, baseball meets music, and we all come together for community. All right, everybody, get ready. It's time for Ray and Steve. Come on in.
Well, Robbie, Ray is playing hooky. He's in Florida at the Yankee game. I found this guy, Ben Goldis, who's the Vice President, Director of Marketing here at Prestige Adult Center, and he's going to join us today.
I love it.
I'm going to definitely
Welcome,
try
Ben.
to sit in. Thank you. Thank you so much.
We've got and Ben is a lot better looking than Ray, so it's going to.
Yeah, I kind of think so too. But we'll. I don't know if Ray's watching, but I'm sure he'll get that message. But Robbie, you've been Frankie Valli's musical director and keyboardist for over 45 years. Man, that's such a run. God bless you for that.
Hey, I'm just getting started, brother.
There you go. Just getting started. I know.
You know what? I was watching that opening commercial, and I thought that was me for a minute because I'll tell you why. In our backyard, when I was a kid growing up, in our backyard, we had the neighborhood wiffle ball field. And so we used to play wiffle ball with all the neighborhood kids, and we loved it, and it was our passion. And then, of course, at a certain time, my mom would come out the back door and say, okay, Robbie, it's time to come in and practice. And the guys would make fun of me, of course. But now I'm so thankful that she did. It's time to come in and practice piano is the point, I guess.
There we go. And Ben you were just mentioning that because that creativity, those kids like myself and like you and like us, we went on the street. We kind of had an imagination to play those games. You don't see that anymore, right?
No, from football to wiffle ball to, different sports, whatever we invented, like we had stoop ball, we had throw ball, we had box baseball. And then, we would play baseball and we'd say, okay, this tree is first base. This car is second base. And then if that car moved, like, okay, what's second base now? We had to just get creative. And, these are the things we did.
And you always yelled out, car coming. So we'd all run across the street, and let the car go by. And then we picked up where we left off when they passed, right?
I would imagine that most of our listeners, at least of a certain vintage and older, relate to that story that Ben just mentioned, because that's what we did when we were kids back in those days. I mean, you went out and played. You didn't have to make a play date in order. Okay, you can be from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock over at Johnny's house.
That's right. That's right. Well, this is a great show today because we're here at Prestige here in Long Island, New York. They've been doing great work for, people that are in their golden years and need that support. Talk about what you do here, Ben.
So here we have a senior adult daycare. People call it the club. It's a place where people come and interact with other, seniors of like age, become friends with people, really become a family. We've been here for 4 years, and throughout the pandemic, during the pandemic, we opened back on a very limited basis with, not such a large amount of people, but we also started delivering meals within the community. To date, we're still doing the meal delivery program. We've delivered over 75,000 meals.
Wow.
Over these last 2+ years. So, excuse me. So this is just something, really community oriented.
Mm-hmm. And now a show, Robbie, is community sports and entertainment. Amen. So having Ben join us in Ray's absence is a good filler.
Well, one thing that Ray Negron does, to his credit, he goes out to the community and he is such a help to his community. And that's what Ray Negron is all about. As a representative of the New York Yankees, as a matter of fact. But then what Ben is doing is the exact same thing. It's going out to help his fellow men and women. And God bless you for what you do, brother.
That's right. Well, I think who joined us at Steinbrenner Field, Ray Negron. Ray, welcome to your show, man.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be back. I miss being in the studio, so I'll be back here next week.
That's right. Now, are the Yankees winning, first of all? I know they just started.
There's no score. We're in the top of the third inning, Yankees and Philadelphia. And I'm sitting here with,
that's my team.
Actually sitting here with Dick Biley. Dick Biley, who was a longtime friend and business associate of George Steinbrenner. Fantastic. And just a good friend of mine, and so Dick Biley, say hello to the people. Say hello to the people back in New York.
Hey, people, how are you?
Hello, Dick.
Hey, Dick.
Well,
hot here.
Yeah, it's very hot. Well, it looks like you're having a good time. But Ray, Ben is a big Philadelphia Philly fan.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, the Phillies are going to have a pretty good, decent team this year.
That's right. Joe Girardi behind the helm there, right?
They got Castellanos. They got Schwarber.
That's
of
right.
course, the reigning MVP, Bryce Harper. So hopefully our pitching will hold up and our bullpen, and maybe we'll be able to get back to the postseason for the first time in who knows how many years.
That's right. And we're going to have Kevin Kern on in a few minutes. But you ran into John Sterling and Susan Waldman recently at the stadium. Let's check out a little clip of your run-in with them.
Thank you.
Susan and John, opening day is on Thursday. How do you feel about it?
We're excited. It's going to be a wonderful year. Be there.
You guys are bigger than ever. I mean, I'm
Oh,
getting all
big.
this shit.
Oh,
How is it? How is it?
We're getting our own bobblehead this year, August 19th. See you at the stadium.
See you at the stadium. I love you guys. I love you both.
Ray, they've been doing that for so many years, right? They're a great
Yes.
team.
Well, that Toronto team looks amazing this year, by the way. They're going to be almost as good as the Dodgers.
That's right. That's right. And Ray, real quick, you also ran into Chaz Palminteri recently, and let's check out a little clip of that. Right?
Go ahead.
Okay.
So, Chaz, yes, I have to thank you because the success I've had with the play Bat Boy, and I wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for you. You told me to do it. You told me I had to do it now. Why, Chaz?
But you did it. You see, a lot of people say they're going to do a one-man show, they want to do this, they want to do that, but they never do it. You did it, and it's great.
And I appreciate you, and I appreciate all the encouragement and the fact, and I'm honored that every time people see me in the streets, they say, "You're just like Chaz Palminteri."
Oh, that's great.
Nobody like Chaz Palminteri, but I am so grateful to be in the same block someplace.
Hey, listen, if you get a chance to see Bad Boy, go see this guy. Go see it.
And the whole world is seeing this man right over here because we love him. Thank you, Chaz.
Wow, Bat Boy is coming back to the Yogi Berra Museum and the Babe Ruth Museum in Baltimore, Maryland. And I believe Chaz is going to the Paramount in Long Island, so we can't wait for that to happen as well.
Awesome.
Well, he's going to be honored by many of the police from Suffolk County after the show over there. And, you know, Chaz was there when for the family of the policeman killed in the line of duty last year.
Yes, yes.
But he's been there for a lot of people. I love Chaz Palminteri, so
Yes.
hopefully I'll get to see him next Sunday.
Hey,
Yeah,
Ray,
well-
that's a pretty heavyweight endorsement, having Chaz Palminteri give you that great endorsement there. That's cool.
No, Chaz is wonderful and good friend, and he does a lot for a lot of people, like, especially for the police. He's been there
That's
for
right.
them during the most difficult of times when people were knocking them. He was there to lift them up. So
Yeah.
thank you, Chaz
That's right.
Palminteri.
Well, Ray, we have another one of your friends, Kevin Kernan. We're going to bring him on. If you have a few more minutes to say hi to Kevin.
Just tell Kevin that I love him. He has always been one of the classiest of the writers, and you know, let him know that he is very much missed.
Well, hang with us, Ray. You don't need to go anywhere, do you?
No, it's, I'll stay as far as transmission will hold.
Okay, let's bring Kevin Kernan on here, fresh off getting the honor at the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame, upstate New York. Kevin, welcome to the show, Reach Out with Ray and Steve. You've been a friend of ours for a long time, but more importantly, you've known Ray for a long time. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, I've known Ray too long.
I know the feeling, Kevin.
I know the stories. And Robbie, by the way, I got to tell you, it's a good thing your mom got you off the wiffle ball field and got you into music.
I think you're right. I
You did
could
a
have
great
been a
job.
contender. You
You could have been. You see, lucky
we did
your
the same-
mom pulled you away from the streets, so you learned the keyboard.
That's right.
There you go. There you go. So, Ray, talk about your friendship with Kevin for a moment.
Kevin is one of the classiest of all. Listen, I've known all the greats. You know, Dick Young, Murray Chas, Phil Pepe. You know, all of them. And of the guys from today, Kevin is one of the very few who could hang with those guys. And you know, that was his class, his dignity. A tremendous writer. You know, just nobody wrote like Kevin. You know, and that's the whole thing.
That's right. That's right. He's an author of a couple of books there. But Kevin, talk about your honor at the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame recently.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks, Ray. Appreciate it. And we had a lot of good. And yeah, the New York State Hall of Fame. They basically, I was in a class with some great people. You know, Tino was in the class, and it was a great event. I really had an unbelievable time. Rennie LaRue runs the thing, and he does a phenomenal job. And it was really took me by surprise. But once I got up there, once we talked, the full house, told them some great stories, going all the way back to Munson when I started covering baseball in 1977. And it was a great event. And you see the jersey behind me, and also the cover right there. So it was one of the great things in my career. You get a lot of awards and honors, but when you're honored by baseball people, that makes a big difference, because these are true people who love the game just like you guys, and that's what it's all about, And unfortunately, baseball has forgotten that to some degree about the real fans and what they really want. And but it made for a great trip. My family was there, so I appreciate you bringing it up.
There we go. And right before the show started, Ben Goldis mentioned, I wonder if Kevin knew my nephew, Al.
My cousin.
Your cousin.
Al.
Talk about Al Goldis for me, because I think Kevin does know him.
Yeah, so Al's been a super scout. He was with Cincinnati. He was with Chicago White Sox, Robin Ventura, Alex Fernandez. What's his name? The first baseman for the White Sox.
Howard. Frank Howard?
No, in the 80s, 90s.
Frank Thomas?
Frank Thomas.
Frank Howard.
Yeah.
Frank Thomas, yeah.
So these were some of his big names that he scouted, and
Those are big names,
people in baseball, they're familiar with my cousin.
Mm-hmm.
He's been very involved.
Mm-hmm. So Kevin, did you know him?
Yeah, no, Al, and the thing about Al was he created a whole subset of scouts who really followed in his footsteps, and was the backbone of scouting. You talk to these guys, like I talk to scouts all the time. I spoke to a bunch this week, just going over what the league is going to look like this year, and they still talk about Al and the things that he brought into scouting and what a great guy he was. He's in that Bill Livesey type area, the great scouts of all time, and it's great to see that he had such an impact on the game. And scouts get so overlooked now, and it's terrible. It really is. I know in Scottsdale, I hope to be there next year when they have the Scouts dinner. It's a phenomenal event that local people put on. And I don't know if Al won that award, but he certainly would be up for the Scout of the Year award for all he's done for Scouts.
Yeah, but now things are so different. Everything is analytics.
Mm-hmm.
And it's changed the way everybody does everything. I know my cousin used to tell me, they go down, it was just like nurturing, go down and just see from high school, and now it's just run some graphs and numbers to see what these people are doing.
Right.
Well, they did it by the heart, they scouted by the heart as well as and it's like. And I'm glad you brought that up, because Scout just told me this the other day. He said, they can do all the numbers they want, but we show up early. We see if a guy's hustling. We see if the guy is the team guy, and that makes the difference in the great players. When you scout a David Wright as opposed to a guy who may have the talent of David Wright way back then, but they don't really play the game the right way. And we need to get back to more scouting. Some of the teams are doing it. I don't know if you guys are aware of it, but the Rockies just put Clint Hurdle in a major position where he's bringing scouting back to the organization, real scouting. And they just got rid of their head nerd. I think he just left. So some teams are trying to organize like that. There needs to be a mix of scouting and analytics. And let's face it, analytics are just statistics. They're just an advanced form of statistics. Every baseball player and manager I knew was into the numbers. Talk about Jack McKeon. I talked to Jack about a week ago. Jack's like 92. He's still playing the stock market, making a ton of money because he's so smart with numbers. And when he told me when he got his first job with the Royals, they couldn't give him the raise after he had a good year. So he said, well, why don't you give me 100 shares of your stock? And at the time, the owner of the Royals owned a big pharmaceutical stock. That thing has split 100 times since then, So Jack was into the numbers. He everybody's into the numbers. So I don't want to hear it that the analytics will bring anything new in. They're just bringing a different way to measure things and talk about things, because a lot of the analytic guys don't see what the scouts see, and that's the big difference. And I'm actually, one other point I want to make real quick. I'm really glad I heard that Severino this week, because I've been saying it for 2 years now. Severino is dialing back on his fastball and is going for command. And these scouts and analytic guys get too crazy into miles per hour. They want everybody to throw 100 miles per hour. It's more about the command. So I think baseball, the pendulum is starting to swing back just ever so slowly.
And if you're an organization and you're going to invest mega millions of dollars into some one person, you want to see more than just numbers on a stat sheet.
Absolutely. And that's what the great teams are doing now. They're really, and for example, let's bring up another Yankee name, Anthony Volpe. Anthony Volpe is the young, talented shortstop that they love. Well, I talked to Damon Oppenheimer about him, a year or so ago. This kid does everything right. And that they see all the little things, how he's more important. It's more important for him to get the hit to move the runner over than to take the big swing. And I don't want to get too, we can talk about it later, but with Robbie's Dodgers, they got some guys that really, Bellinger's got to fix his swing, man. If they're going to be who they're going to be. So these guys get carried away with the numbers. It leads to bad results, and it also leads to injuries down the road. So there's a lot going on. The scouts really are getting pushed to the side for a lot of organizations, but they're moving forward with some organizations, and that's good to see.
And I think the audience, the lay people who aren't the avid baseball fans, might have seen that Clint Eastwood movie that was so cool about him being an old school scout,
With his daughter, and there's a lot to that. I mean, I can't tell. Like, I'll get another small example, but for Ball 9, I write twice a week still and do some great stuff with them. They let me do whatever I want. And I had a story yesterday about DeGrom, but I also, in the middle of that story, I had a scout telling me the Mets need to get another lefty reliever, and they need to get him quickly. So that story pops up. A day later, what do the Mets do? They trade with the Yankees to get a lefty reliever. So these, and this is a scout from another organization. So these guys, they see the teams. They know where the weaknesses are, and they know where the strengths are, and they cannot be pushed aside. So it's the New York baseball. Billy Blitzers. I don't know if you guys have ever. You got to get Billy Blitzer on sometime on your show. Billy's a longtime Cub Scout. Signed Jamie Moyer, Brooklyn guy. All the New York Scouts love him. He's the head of the New York Scouts Association. And this might be his last year in the game. So, he's a great story, too. And they have all the fun stories. I can't repeat a lot of them here, but a lot of the fun stories that happened. Real quickly, because this, we're supposed to be entertainment. I was talking to a guy the other day who mentioned, remember Eddie, Everyday Eddie, the reliever?
Yes.
Eddie Rodera. Well, he was doing a rehab assignment, and this is what's fun too. So he used to get in a hot tub, the little small hot tub in the minor leagues organization that he was at, every day at a certain time, and everybody knew it was Eddie's time there. So some young kid comes in, gets in the hot tub for a week straight, takes away Eddie's time. So you know what Eddie did? Here's what Eddie did, guys. Eddie comes in, and the guy that told me the story said Eddie's got a big duffel, a big canvas bag, and they're saying, "What's Eddie doing?" He walks right into the hot tub area at the time. He empties the bag filled with live lobsters and, into the hot tub, and you never saw a kid move faster out of there than what Everyday Eddie did. So those are the little things. I mean, it's a fun story, but it also gives you some insight.
I love it.
So, Kevin, it seems like you're still very busy. I thought you retired.
I'm too busy. I 40-some years, Robbie, you just keep doing it. It's just like 47th year for me. But you know what? I think when COVID hit, I was bored. So and I have an opportunity to write. And what happened was because of my work on Ball 9, I'm read now by more baseball people than when I was at the New York Post. I get texts every day from former players, scouts, managers, coaches, and they help me along. They point out things. And I had to laugh, too. I don't know if you guys heard about the new thing with second base being moved up, towards home plate. Yeah.
Well, I heard about it making bigger, but not moved up, right?
It's 15 to 18 inches, so it's bigger. But now they're testing it in the minor leagues in the second half throughout the minor leagues this year. It's going to be closer to home plate. And they think that will increase stealing. But I had to laugh because, Robbie, your story, and anybody who's played any kind of street ball, or I used to play in a little playground in Kenilworth, New Jersey. And when I used to come in, if my team was up, I would kick that second base towards home a little bit. So, again, these are the nerds doing new things, but these are the things we did when we were 12 years old. So nothing changes.
And I want to respond to your thing, your point about retiring. I just got off the phone with Frankie Valli a few minutes ago. Now, Frankie Valli is 87. He will be 88 years old May the 3rd.
Wow.
Everybody asking him, hey, when are you going to retire? And his answer is, for what? What am I going to do? Sit home and watch, Peyton Place or something?
Well, I actually have a Frankie story that Ray helped me with recently, Ray Negron.
Let's hear it.
And I go to a local college game. Imagine this. And they, in college now, they all have the music. Flagler College, they have the music before the game, before the player gets up to the plate, right? So this kid, Miles Colangelo, his music was Sherry.
Oh, that's cool.
This is a 20-year-old kid now playing Sherry. Yeah. So through Ray, got a hold of Frankie, and Frankie said, "This is what keeps me going. It's great to see new generations do this." And by the way, the kid's a damn good hitter. Hit a grand slam the other day.
Awesome.
So it's nice to see. So I think our point here, fellas, is baseball transcends. Whether it's Al Goldis, Frankie Valli, some of the little things that happen there, being a fan, it goes from generation to generation, and we can never lose that.
That's right, brother. I heard the word used, boredom in retirement. I think that's how I met Robbie, through Ray. I think he was bored during the pandemic, so I came along, and here we are.
That's right. Well, you know what I did during the pandemic was I have been a road musician for 45, almost 50 years, because I was doing that before I was even with Frankie. And that's basically going on the road every year for, the majority of the year. And all of a sudden the pandemic hit and all that was stopped immediately. I had to find something else to do. And so I found my audience through this computer that I have in front of me.
That's right. Well, we have a list of some players here. I just want you to say a few things about them, Kevin. Aaron Judge, long-term deal or what?
They'd be crazy not to give him a long-term deal. And I've spoke to Aaron about this going back 4 years ago. And don't forget, I was the first guy who wrote about Aaron Judge because I went on the backfields when he was still a minor leaguer, and I saw him. And then I got in touch with a scout who I know who scouted him in the Cape Cod League. And that scout told me that I said, tell me something I don't know about Aaron Judge. And and he talked about how being a great kid. And this is before we knew Aaron Judge. But he said in the Cape Cod League home run derby, he hit a ball over a pond that was so far out in left field. Through all the years, the only guy who hit one further or hit it as far was George Foster. So that gave an immediate connection to me about Aaron. Great kid. The Yankees have to sign him. He's their heart and soul, and he's got great parents, and they'd be crazy if they don't. And whatever it takes, it's got to get done.
How about the Twins, Gio Urshela, wearing number 15 there?
Yeah, that's a good pickup for them because, as we all know, Gio is a great he's not only a great defender, he's a great teammate. He's a great clubhouse guy, and he really changed his hitting because of Phil Plantier. If you remember that guy, he's now with Miami, Phil, in the organization. But Phil got Gio to hit, and I think that's a really smart move by the Twins because it's all about defense, and he'll bring the defense back.
That's right. And they also got Gary Sanchez. So you think he'll rediscover himself in Minnesota?
It's the only chance he has. This has to be a wake-up call, fellas. This is a wake-up call for Gary Sanchez. Mm-hmm. And Gary was a little stubborn, but in Gary's defense, because I know Gary well also since he was in the minors, They threw so much at Gary. They changed so many catching instructors. This kid was confused by it all. Just let Gary be Gary. Tell him to get his act together, because if he doesn't clean it up, he's going to be the next Jose Montero, who basically faded away. So this is on Gary now. No excuses. And Gary should be able to have a good year. A lot of less pressure up there. And just let his talent show and hit the ball the other way, please, like he used to do. Don't look dead red on everything.
And let's go. Brett Gardner, where's he going to wind up?
That's a tough one. I think he'd be a great addition for anybody who needs that extra outfielder. Also, Brett, I think is satisfied in his home life too. So I could see him not playing this year. But if somebody's going to give him a nice contract and he's going to play, I think you know how it goes. Look what the Braves did last year. They had all the injuries. They had to change everything. At some point, somebody's going to get hurt, and Brett Gardner would be added to because in that lineup, in that clubhouse, he's a mainstay. He learned from Jeter. He was always a good guy you could lean on, and he was an honest assessment guy. And you need more of that. He's a look in the mirror guy. So some team will add him, and it would be a good move.
Okay, can I throw one in here?
Yes.
Sure.
All right, Kevin. So I read a very interesting article the other day. The Dodgers 2022 lineup, best in MLB this year, maybe the best ever. Now I know that's a lot of hyperbole, but the first three batters, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Trey Turner. What's your evaluation of that lineup?
Well, it's phenomenal, and it's phenomenal to me that in the two of those guys, all three actually, but we're given up by other teams. Freddie Freeman's Freddie is he's player oriented, so he can rub some people in the clubhouse the wrong way. And by that I mean like maybe some of the workers in there sometimes, but that's because he's so team oriented for the players. He's shooting for the players. His defense will help them. I think that lineup is going to be phenomenal, and that's why I started off talking about Cody Bellinger. He's still trying to do too much. They get so excited about hitting the ball a long way. He needs to dial it back too. But that lineup has the potential, and then you get players like Gavin Lux. I think the Dodgers really are motivated this year more than any other year. Adding Kimbrel, don't forget to, that's the kind of addition they needed. With Kenley Jansen moving on, so I think the Giants will fall back. I think the Padres still have many issues. I think the Dodgers will win that division and get their pitching straight, and they're going to be. I fully expect the Dodgers to be in a World Series.
The Dodgers are kind of like the Yankees of previous decades.
Yeah, and I never get into that like best lineup ever because I go all the way back to 27 Yankees. The best
pretty good lineup.
ever.
Yeah. Of course, after you get past Ruth and Gary, though, it definitely comes down.
Exactly. Go ahead.
Kevin, here's another New Yorker, Mike Conforto. What's going on with him? He's not signed yet.
Well, he hurt his shoulder. And this is what I don't understand, but somehow he hurt his shoulder in off-season workouts, and so that's why he's not signed. I'm guessing, knowing Scott Boras, going back with him forever too, I think Boras will hold on to him until maybe as long as you can to get him the right deal, even if it's halfway through the season. I think it's going to be a situation where an outfield, just a team needs an outfielder, and then Conforto's the guy. Conforto, he's such an interesting guy, such a good guy. He moved from Seattle to Arizona a couple of years with his training methods, and he's had a couple bad years, and it's just been bad luck for him. Nothing he did. So I remember seeing him as a youngster, and again, this is what happens when you have too much analytics. Conforto was completely confused last year once they brought in the new hitting coaches. I mentioned that last year at the time. Other writers picked up on it this year. So he needs a reset. He needs a health reset, and he needs a body reset. and do what he can do in a certain ballpark. I actually thought at some point he'd be an interesting get for the Yankees, but it really doesn't fit with the way their outfield is now. But yeah, he's a good player, but he kind of screwed himself up by getting hurt.
That's right. Real quick, you mentioned the Dodgers are going to the World Series. What's about the Yankees and Mets? What's going to happen with them? And then we'll have to end this segment.
Yeah, I'll go real quick. The DeGrom injury is huge for the Mets. The good news is it's a fracture or a stress fracture they call it, so it should heal. But he's another one. He's got to dial it down. He's gotten too crazy with the speeds. He needs to get it right. If he gets it right, they'll be in the playoffs and anything can happen. The Yankees, I think the Yankees have a solid team. They did what I told them to do a couple of years ago. They needed to get a defensive-minded shortstop. They've done that with Connor Falefa. He's going to help them tremendously. I think they're accenting defense now. The one thing I want to see the Yankees do is get a little bit away from their pitching staff where they teach side-to-side movement on the breaking balls as opposed to depth. And I think Severino might lead the way there because he's changing it on his own. I think because of their analytical pitching coach, they've kind of changed some things. They need to make some changes, and they'll be real good. They'll be right there.
Kevin, thank you so much. Opening day is right around the corner. How can people read your articles now or contact you or get to see what you're doing these days?
Yeah, ball9.com. You can follow me on Facebook. Also, my Twitter handle is AMBS, America's Most Beloved Sports Writer, _Kernan, AMBS Kernan, and you can follow me there. And also, I'll be kicking off a podcast. I'll let you guys know about that shortly.
Awesome.
Got to call it Coaching Kernan. So we're going to bring in great coaches, great scouts, great information, and it'll be fun to hear. But that'll be coming up later this month.
Kevin, thank you so very much for being patient the last couple of weeks. We love you, man. Keep doing the great work that you do. The great Kevin Kernan.
Yes.
Thank you. We're going to have another New York legend, Emerson Boozer, will join us shortly live here from Prestige Adult Center here in Huntington. But let's go back in time. Let's check out what Mr. Boozer brought to the Jets in the football world back in the day.
Emerson Boozer was born July 4th, 1943 in Augusta, Georgia, and attended Laney High School. He went on to be a four-year letterman as a halfback at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, formerly known as Maryland State College. Boozer, a 5'11", 205-pound bruiser, would average nearly 7 yards per carry over 4 seasons. He was a two-time first-team All-American and amassed 2,537 yards and 22 touchdowns during his college career. The New York Jets selected Boozer in the 6th round of the 1966 AFL Draft. The Steelers selected him in the 7th round of the 1966 NFL Draft. He elected to play 10 seasons for the Jets and was named the AFL Rookie of the Year and a 2-time Pro Bowl selection. He got off to a phenomenal start in 1967, scoring 13 touchdowns in 7 games before a severe knee injury. Despite playing just half that year, he still led the AFL in rushing touchdowns. Boozer recovered and played a vital role in the Jets' Super Bowl III victory. In 1972, the Jets had the top-rated offense, and Boozer led the NFL in rushing touchdowns for most of the year. Boozer finished his career with 52 touchdowns, more than any other active player at the time of his retirement. He's been inducted into the University of Maryland Eastern Shore Hall of Fame, the MEAC Hall of Fame, and the College Football Hall of Fame, the Pigskin Club of Washington, D.C. Intercollegiate All-American Football Players Honor Roll, and the New York Jets Ring of Honor. Emerson Boozer, Black College Football Hall of Fame, class of 2019.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Emerson Boozer.
And there he is. He just showed up. You put a little video on and he just shows up there.
Awesome.
You know,
Hey,
Robbie,
my favorite number, 32. My favorite basketball player, Magic Johnson. My favorite baseball player, Sandy Koufax.
there we go. He's talking about number 32.
Always.
Always. Now, I was looking at your birthday is July 4th. You have a great birthday. You celebrate the country, but also your day. Talk about over the years how it has having a birthday on July 4th each year.
It really sets off my feelings of being a part of the world. July 4th, it's a great day.
Yeah, it's a great day. And, there's so much tragedy going on around the world. What's your take on everything that's going on?
Well, I don't have much to say on what's going on. Just try to live and let live.
Yeah. Now, you've been
I have a question for Emerson. So, Emerson, back in the day, your quarterback there used to hang out at Bachelor's 3 with Frankie Valli. Did you ever go down over to that club, Bachelor's 3 down in Florida? Because that's where Frankie used to play back in those days.
Of course, most of the players that play with Joe stop by Bachelor's 3.
Yeah. I heard a lot of wild stories about those days. We probably can't even talk about them on the air here.
No, I don't know of any.
But Emerson, you had a brilliant career with the Jets, 4 yards per carry, over 5,000 rushing yards, 52 TDs. Talk about Super Bowl III for a moment.
Well, I can't really remember much about the game. It was a game that supposedly we weren't supposed to win. But other than that, I have not much to say about it, because it's what goes up comes down, and for the Colts in those years, things went down. Jets, they were up.
That's right. Well, we have a couple of names I want to throw at you, and you just tell me your thoughts about it. Weeb Ewbank.
Weeb is a legendary coach in my opinion. He's a man that knows the game of football and has succeeded well in the game, both at Baltimore and in New York. So there's not much you can say about the man. He's an outstanding coach.
Matt Snell.
Matt, great running buddy.
Buddy of yours.
Yeah, Matt and I were, along with offensive line, Herman Hill, those guys made things easier for running backs.
Bill Mathis.
Bill Mathis, like Matt. What can you say about these guys? The guys are right in the center of things and continue to make things happen.
And Winston Hill.
Winston, big guy up front. And I have nothing bad to say about Winnie. Big offensive tackle. Loves the game, play the game very well.
On this show, we have Ray Negron. He's not here right now. And Robbie often talks about the Brooklyn Dodger days, playing at Ebbets Field and all that. How was it playing at Shea Stadium?
Shea was Jetsville, as far as I was concerned. And when we played at Shea, we were at home. And you try to perform better, or your best, bring your best before the home crowd. And Jets did just that. Try to please the crowd.
Hey, Emerson. So one of the things about this show that's very unique to any other show that people would watch is it combines music and sport and the intersection of those two. What are some of your favorite music groups, favorite musical artists?
I really don't have a favorite musical artist.
Well, I have let me throw this at you. I used to play with a lot of different bands that you probably know. Let me see what you comment about them. I used to play with the Four Tops. You've ever heard of the Four Tops?
Of course, so Sugar Pie Honey Bun.
Be my scrub, baby.
Yes, Sugar Pie Honey Bun.
Yeah.
You know that I love you.
Hey, there we go.
You sing way better than Ray Negron.
Hey, you know what? We have to get reacquainted with Frankie Valli one day.
Yeah. Hey, okay, Emerson, let me throw another group I played with before. The Commodores. What do you think of the Commodores? Back when Lionel Richie was in the band.
Commodores. They're one of the great ones, the Commodores.
You know what? Let me throw an obscure name that maybe all the listeners might not have heard of. Steve probably hasn't even, but I suspect you may know. I used to play in the band with Albert King. Do you know who that is?
Albert King.
He was Born Under a Bad Sign.
Is he any relations to BB King?
Well, it was like the three king. He was just like BB. It was BB King, Albert King, and Freddie King. They were all the blues artists. But so there you have it. So I just want to throw those names out. But boy, Emerson sings good, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does definitely sing good. He definitely sings good, but he's a New York legend, and we
Yeah.
thank him so very much. I mean, you were drafted in 1966 in the NFL draft, round 7, 98th pick by the Steelers. AFL draft, 1966, round 6, the 46th overall pick. Why'd you pick the AFL over the NFL?
Well, I don't really know why, but they both good football is played in both leagues at that time, and it didn't matter where I played, but I chose the AFL.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And the Jets are going to be drafting pretty soon with the draft. Do you think they are turning the corner this year?
They should. Probably will. So
Okay.
we just wait and see what happens to them.
Okay. All right. The great Emerson Boozer. Thank you so very much, sir, for joining us here today. And we're so thankful. God bless. And
Thanks a
you're a New York legend. It's always so grateful that you come on our show every time to time. Thank you so much, Emerson.
And thank you for inviting.
All right. Great, Emerson Boozer. I mean, this show, we have a loaded people here. And next we have a author who's a rabbi, and he wrote a book, 8 Paths of Purpose, Rabbi Teldin, and he's going to join us. He's also the executive director of the 34 Shabbat Centers of Long Island. He has a weekly Cablevision show on Long Island, talk show, the Jewish Spotlight, and he's an author. We're going to talk to him about this book in a few moments, and we're going to get him on. This is Reach Out with Ray and Steve and Robbie, and we're live here at Prestige Adult Center here in Huntington, because it's all about giving back and the community work that we all do. And Robbie, you remind us of that when you segue this show at the very beginning, because it's not just about music, not just about baseball. It has to give back in what God wants us to do. Right, Robbie?
I think that's what everybody should do, no matter what gifts and talents. I'm a big believer that God gives everybody unique and individual gifts and talents. And we are to use those gifts and talents to serve him by serving others.
That's right. And we're so fortunate to have Rabbi Teldin join us. Like I said, he's the author of 8 Paths of Purpose, and Ben's going to be with us as well. So, Rabbi, welcome to the show here.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Looking forward to a nice discussion.
Thank you. Thank you. And talk about your friendship with Ben over here.
Ben and I go back quite a while. We used to have a day school here in Suffolk County, and Ben's son, Joey, was one of our star students, so we got to be very close during that time.
Okay. And talk about the work that goes on here at Prestige.
I think Joey can talk. Ben can talk to us about that.
Okay. So we're going to talk about it, but talk about your book real quick, 8 Paths of Purpose, and we're going to put that up on the screen there. Talk when you wrote that, and what's the mission of the book, the vision.
All right. Well, I think you had a great segue before when you were talking about how we can do things to make the world a better place, because what happened was when I first moved out to Long Island, this was in 1977, we had our first son who was born very sick, and he ended up passing away when he was 13. And it kind of set me on a trajectory of looking for some type of explanation. I'm the rabbi. I'm the guy that's supposed to be coming to for answers when they have questions about life. And I found myself in a situation where I was hit pretty much a big punch in the stomach. So I had to go back to the books and find my own answers in a certain way, based, of course, on everything that I had learned before. So one of the things I came to teach was how really each and every single one of us has a purpose. Right. Every person, every individual, every human being, we all have a purpose. And it's interesting, the Torah says, that Judaism teaches, that the purpose of all of humanity is to take an imperfect world and to try to perfect it. And we all do that in our unique way. And we all have many imperfections, like your challenges in life and your challenges in life and my challenges in life are all completely separate. You can have 7 billion people and they all have their, their imperfections in life.
Right.
And the challenge is for each of us to be able to deal with what comes our way and what kind of deck we get dealt, and be able to make the best out of it.
In your book, 8 Paths of Purpose, when was that written? How long did it take for you to put this on paper here.
So my son passed away in 1991. I started then, and I finished about 3 years ago.
Oh,
So
okay.
it took a long time. It was a long journey and a lot of processing of all of the emotions and the feelings, and eventually trying to write it in a way that is something that every single person, whatever their background, whatever their involvement in life, could really find some type of answer for themselves in this. Because the 8 paths are all there in order to be able to help every individual find their path to be able to have a more purposeful life.
Yeah, Robbie, what do you think about what Rabbi's talking about?
That's amazing, Rabbi. With 30 years of research, you must have done a lot. You must have come up with some amazing answers. I'd be fascinated to read it.
All right. I hope you'll be able to. It's really, I've gotten a lot of very positive feedback from many people all over the country, really in different parts of the world as well. And it's a message I think that people can really synchronize with, because especially these days, I think a lot of people are trying to figure out, what the heck is going on in this world, and how do we make sense of this, and what can I do in my little world sitting here in Long Island to make the world a better place when so many bombs are going all over the place and so many problems are happening. So it gives every person a way of finding that inner sense of purpose. Because my feeling is that, porpoises might be the smartest mammals or even gorillas or whatever it might be, but none of them think about, how do I make the world a better place for my children? Human beings are the only ones that even think about what it means to make the world a better place. And it's unique to us, and every single one of us have our way of accomplishing that. So as a result, we have that kind of a mandate or obligation, a privilege, a path to be able to fulfill our purpose by taking those unique challenges that each one of us feel and not be victimized by it, because too many of us get victimized by what's going on in the world. They get victimized by my problems, by my financial struggles, by my spouse and my kids and my parents and my boss and everything else, and we just pile it on. And instead of looking at it as obstacles, the secret is to look at it as the challenges, and then it becomes a whole different type of animal.
Ben, what do you think about what Rabbi just said?
Some powerful things. It's very important to be able to, individualize and just try to, do things that, for yourself, but also for your community and that to make the world a better place.
That's right.
I can put it in musical, if I can put it in musical analogy, God is the great orchestrator. God is the great conductor. Each one of us are instruments of his grace. And whether we be the oboe or the bassoon or the big bass drum, we all need to open up the score and read it and do our bit to make the world a better place.
I love it. Sounds good. Very often the conductor doesn't make any noise at all. He's very silent, just the way God is. He's very silent. But everybody else can make as much noise as they want as long as they fit into the bigger picture. Amen. So we can all fit into that bigger picture. I wrote the book. Really, I wanted to make it even a totally secular atheist could find meaning in the book. But of course, I myself am a strong believer in God. And I think when you put that extra dimension into it of God, as you mentioned, so it all of a sudden adds a lot to it, because then the things that happen to us in life are not just mistakes. They're not just accidents or coincidences. They're there for a purpose, and they're custom made. You have your challenges, I have mine. Everybody has their unique challenges, which are God's, so to say, assignment to your soul to be able to accomplish what you need to accomplish in this life.
Amen.
Well, Rabbi, we're going to have to get you back on the show real soon, but how can people get a hold of your book?
So the book is available on Amazon. It's available at, just go on Amazon.com and you can look for 8 Paths of Purpose, or else just check out my name, Tuvia Teldon, and you'll be able to find it. Pick it up. It's very inexpensive, and you'll be able to hopefully learn something more about how to transform all those challenges that you have in life into positives.
Well, thank you very much. God bless. Robbie, we're going to take us home. We have a video that you put together, correct, for Ukraine?
Yeah, it's a song that I wrote, and I have the great Sarah Nimitz singing it. And we just reached out, and I thought it would be a nice thing to reach up for Ukraine, because what's going over there is horrific, and we need to pray for Ukraine that God helps to find a quick and easy solution to this whole horrific situation.
All right. Well, Robbie, thank you very much, Rabbi, Ben, Emerson, and Kevin and Ray. Thank you. Another great show in the books, but we all need to pray and support the folks in the Ukraine. Let's check it out. Thank you, Robbie.
Jesus is the light. The light shines in the darkness all around the world for everyone to see. Jesus is the word come to live among us. Truth and faith, the Father's glory stand for you and me. He's the light. He's the Lamb, the joy of our salvation. He's the way, He's the truth, He's the light. Son of God, Son of Man, the Lord of all creation. Jesus is the light of the world. Sent from God, He came to be a witness to the light that people